this lesson is going to teach you how to solve proportions that are a little bit more involved. We're going to be bringing back the distributive property. So we're going to be looking more at some of those multi-step equations. We start the same way. We are going to cross multiply. So here, when we do our cross products, the 6 will be out front. We're going to use parentheses to show that we have to multiply the 6 by that entire group. And then again, 3 with the parentheses to show that we're going to multiply that by the entire group. So our first step that we just did was to cross multiply. Once we've written that out, now we go ahead and distribute. So when you distribute the 6, you're going to end up with 12x plus 6. And on the left hand, or on the right hand side, excuse me, will be 15x minus 15. All right, we've got variables on both sides. So what we want to do is just try and move the variables to the left hand side. And again, you can move them to the right if you'd rather. I just think a lot of us have been doing it to the left. So we're going to do that by subtracting 15x to both sides. 12x, take away 15x is minus 3x, or a negative 3x. Bring down the plus 6, bring down the equal sign, bring down the negative 15. Some of you end up losing that negative in front of the 15. Make sure you pay attention to that. Next, we have to undo addition. So here we're going to end up subtracting 6 from both sides. We get negative 3x equals negative 21. And then lastly, we have to undo the multiplying. And so we'll divide, because division is the opposite of multiplying. We'll divide by negative 3. So x is 7. Okay, so we're using the same principles that we were doing with proportions, only now we're just basically solving multi-step equations instead of one-step equations. So next example. And again, I might encourage you to try this one on your own, so you might want to press pause here and then watch the solution in a little bit. We'll start off by doing 2 times the quantity w plus 8 equals 18 times 3, which is 54. All right, we're going to distribute here. 2w plus 16. Bring down the equals 54. Subtract 16 from both sides. Bring down the 2w. The 16s have canceled. We're left with 38. And then divide both sides by 2 to get an answer of w equals 19. Okay, and again, it doesn't matter which order you cross multiply in. I just tended to start with making sure that I have a variable on the left-hand side. All right, our next example here, I'm going to do 7 times the quantity a plus 2 equals 4a. This one's going to end up being kind of tricky. We'll have to talk about this one. So we'll start by distributing, just like we did on the other ones. So we'll have 7a plus 14 equals 4a. But now, if we follow what we've always been doing, we would move the variable to the left-hand side. So we're going to go ahead with that. We're going to subtract 4a. And here's where a lot of you would just lose your equal sign. So you need to be really careful here. We never lose the equal sign. If you think about what you get when you take 4a minus 4a, you get 0. You can write 0. 0 is a valid number here. So we're just going to have equal 0 on one side. And then on the other side, we end up with 3a plus 14. Okay, so don't freak out if things cancel. Just write what you get. You get 0. And now it's just a two-step equation. You're going to subtract 14 on both sides. So we have 3a equals negative 14. Divide both sides by 3. And you're already thinking this is not going to be a nice answer. But remember, we've talked about you do not need to leave everything in a fraction answer. For this unit, you can use a decimal, and we're just asking that you round to the nearest hundredth. So that's 2 decimal places. So when you type that in your calculator, negative 14 divided by positive 3, you end up with a negative 4.67. And that's an acceptable answer for this unit. All right, last problem here. We're going to cross multiply. So I'm going to have 2 times d minus 6 equals 9 times d minus 7. Distribute. We get 2d minus 12 equals 9d minus 63. Let's move our variables to the left. So we're going to subtract 9d from both sides. 2 minus 9 gives us a negative 7. Be careful with your negatives here. Bring down your minus 12. Bring down your negative 63. Don't lose that negative again. Next, we're going to add 12 to both sides. So negative 7d is equal to negative 51. Divide both sides by a -7. And again, for this one, we're going to have to do a little bit of rounding. So if you round correctly, you would end up with 7.29 for your final answer. Still learn